What's up guys? Welcome to AnimeKouhai. If you'd like to help me out, please hit the like button and subscribe to my channel.
Veldora had meticulously laid the groundwork for his triumph long before the battle even began. He had been patiently waiting for the right moment. His training with Zijin and Ultima, coupled with mentoring the labyrinth's strongest fighters, had forged him into an even greater force. Close combat had always been his forte, and now, his refined skills made him a master. Even the clever, underhanded tactics he had learned from Rimuru were part of his arsenal. Rimuru often stressed how vital it was to be well prepared.
If you take care of all the preparations ahead of time, you'll stay calm no matter what happens.
Rimuru had once said. Although Veldora's involvement in this war was unexpected and left him without full preparation, he had developed a few strategies. When you had an energy advantage over your opponent, these tactics were almost guaranteed to succeed. By steadily wearing down de Gruel's strength, observing the disparity between their powers, and waiting for the perfect moment, Veldora ensured his readiness. Even after he felt confident in his ability to win, he continued to engage de Gruel out of respect for their old friendship.
I thought I perfected this, but I guess I still have a long way to go.
De Gruel, who had aimed to decisively defeat Veldora, found himself genuinely shocked. Even after ascending to a trinity, Ashura, and using his most secretive techniques, victory still eluded him. At this point, he had abandoned any notion of being superior. Finally, de Gruel acknowledged the truth.
De Gruel, step down now. If you leave quietly, I won't pursue this any further.
You're a real thorn in my side, Veldora. I have to defeat Ruminus. It's the only way I can honor my fallen friend.
Veldora nodded solemnly. He understood the significance of showing respect to the dead but believed the living should take precedence. Rimuru often said it was a case-by-case matter. There was no absolute right or wrong, it came down to individual perspectives. As such, Veldora kept his thoughts to himself, knowing it wasn't his place to judge.
Well then, I'm sorry, de Gruel, but I'm going to end this with my ultimate move.
Veldora declared. De Gruel tensed, but by then it was too late. Veldora unleashed his power, which erupted in full force. The energy spiraled out of control, creating a rainbow-colored darkness that enveloped the surrounding area, stretching across the holy empire of Rubirius and the desert of death.
Fertile paradox.
Veldora announced. Within the shimmering, multicolored darkness, a cruel miracle unfolded. The rainbow-colored darkness expanded swiftly, consuming everything in its path.
What is this?
By the time Ruminus realized the impending danger, it was far too late. The vibrant, multicolored darkness had already seeped through the barrier and spread inside.
What is this?
Ruminus murmured in disbelief. She reached out to touch the darkness and, in that moment, she understood.
Is this some kind of mystical energy?
It felt akin to a sacred force, like a prayer or a blessing, promoting restoration and renewal. There was no need to resist it, its effects were undeniable. The darkness swallowed Ruminus, along with Xian, Ultima, Gadra, Adelman, Alberto, de Gruel's sons, and even Basara, who was technically an enemy. Others, whether they were renowned warriors or ordinary soldiers, fell into the same deep slumber upon contact with the enigmatic energy. As all living beings succumbed to this enchanted sleep, the once barren earth began to flourish with greenery. Veldora stood at the center of the rainbow-colored darkness, surrounded by its mystical glow. Directly in front of him stood de Gruel, the god of destruction. Nearby, Glassword and Fen had been released from their trinity, Ashura, forms. While Glassword seemed satisfied with his role, Fen appeared uninterested, turning away with a dismissive huff. De Gruel, however, remained calm despite the situation.
So, you've used this as seeds to transform the world, haven't you?
Calling it a transformation might be overstating things, but I'll admit I've had a bit of fun with it.
Veldora replied with a cheerful tone. De Gruel found Veldora's lighthearted attitude frustrating, but there was little he could do. He was already immobilized, his limbs trapped within the trunk of a massive tree. As de Gruel had remarked, he and the others had indeed been used as seeds. The same fate befell Fen and Glassword. While their upper bodies extended out from the tree, their limbs were fully absorbed into its trunk. There was no way to escape, their bodies were no longer under their own control.
What have you done?
De Gruel demanded.
I've restored it, I suppose.
Veldora replied nonchalantly.
Restored it? What do you mean?
Using the magicules, I brought the ruined land back to its original state.
Are you suggesting magicules can change their nature?
Exactly. Magicules exist in two distinct forms. An aggressive state used for attacks and a stabilized, tranquil state. The desert of death has always been chaotic because it was flooded with violent magicules. But when stabilized, the land can flourish again, turning green like the great Jura forest.
That's impossible. Neither I nor the other demon lords could accomplish such a thing.
De Gruel argued.
Even Ruminus, with her unparalleled mystical abilities, couldn't counteract the devastation caused by Milim.
Veldora explained.
Had she been able to neutralize such chaos, perhaps reconciliation between you and Ruminus might have been possible. However, artificially altering the state of Magicules was beyond reach for anyone. It was something that could only be resolved naturally over time. But I've managed to make it happen. The fertile paradox isn't purely an offensive move. It's a blessing I've bestowed upon this land. By harmonizing the unstable Magicules and fostering the growth of life, I've ensured that those who disrupt nature are repurposed to support it. This land, once ravaged by magical disasters, will heal and regain its former fertility.
De Gruel muttered, utterly shocked by Veldora's revelation.
By the way, this whole thing has your body as its core. I've harnessed your immense energy, and now you're sealed. Since this power can only be undone by me, you won't be causing any more chaos.
Veldora declared with a confident laugh. De Gruel couldn't hide his astonishment at the sheer scale of Veldora's abilities.
I see. How underhanded of you.
I'll take that as a compliment.
Veldora responded, bursting into laughter. Of course, De Gruel hadn't intended it as a compliment, but Veldora didn't care. De Gruel couldn't help but chuckle at the absurdity.
Relax. Once this war ends, I'll release you. By then, the sanctity of your land will be restored, and the environment will have returned to normal. Naturally, there won't be any more reason for conflict with Ruminus, right?
In a few decades at most, Veldora thought, Rimuru would undoubtedly be found. By that time, De Gruel would no longer pose a threat and could be set free. This thought left De Gruel stunned.
You're actually planning to let me go? No, wait, are you even aware of the condition my country is in?
De Gruel couldn't help but marvel at Veldora's insight. Anyone who had known the Veldora of the past would have been shocked by his newfound foresight and composure.
I'm sensing a bit of skepticism, but that's fine. As for your homeland, isn't it true that in a few hundred years, the water will completely dry up, making the land uninhabitable even for giants with their immense life force?
The accuracy of Veldora's observation left De Gruel speechless. It was clear that Veldora had grown far more perceptive than before.
So, you figured it out. I see you've also uncovered the real reason behind my invasion of Ruminus territory, even going so far as to involve the binding gods.
De Gruel's recent loss to Fen served as a humbling reminder of his earlier rampages, but it hadn't changed his essence. What might have seemed like a betrayal of Rimuru and the others was, in truth, a calculated and rational choice befitting a ruler, a strategic response to the crisis. That Veldora had seen through all of this left De Gruel feeling both impressed and somewhat embarrassed. Veldora responded to De Gruel with a faint, knowing smile.
No, I really don't know about that. It's none of my concern. So, the fact that your forces were composed only of fallen soldiers, with no young recruits, no women, and no children, it doesn't matter to me either.
That's exactly what I'd expect from you, Veldora.
De Gruel laughed heartily, a clear sign of the camaraderie he shared with Veldora. He had once suffered defeat at the hands of Veldanava. Following that loss, De Gruel was entrusted with guarding Heaven's Tower, the passage leading to the Heavenly Star Palace. Under his command, the giants had loyally followed these orders. However, their obedience was tested during the chaos caused by Milim's uncontrollable outburst, an incident no one could truly hold against her. De Gruel, who bore no ill will toward others, had solemnly accepted his destiny, even if it meant walking toward death. But his defeat by Fen brought back memories of the past, reigniting his resolve. With renewed determination, De Gruel decided to take a final gamble. Ruminus became the ideal target for his desperate plan. If he could confront Ruminus and claim her land, it might give the giants a chance at survival. Even in the likely event of defeat, their efforts could still buy time for those left behind, as their sacrifice would significantly thin the opposing forces. This slim chance was why De Gruel accepted Fen's proposal, even at the cost of being branded a traitor.
If it had just been my life on the line, I would have accepted it without hesitation. But as a king, forcing that fate on my younger soldiers was unbearable. I'm sorry, Ruminus. I thought there might have been a way.
De Gruel admitted with regret. Veldora simply shrugged.
In the end, this world is a place where the strong prevail, and the weak are left to fall. No one can fault you for trying.
And Veldora was right. People might complain, but their grievances didn't require acknowledgement. Without Veldora's intervention, Rumina's downfall would have been inevitable. In the end, victory determines who stands justified. This time, De Gruel and his followers weren't as fortunate.
But, Veldora, why did you restore this place? Was it to help us? Out of pity?
De Gruel questioned. He wasn't wrong. The Magicule-ravaged desert had been transformed into fertile, vibrant land, steadily spreading into De Gruel's territory. Veldora burst into laughter.
I just wanted to prove I'm stronger than you. Plus, I thought it'd be fun to impress Ruminus a bit. Restoring the land? That was just a side effect.
The balance of the Magicule had encouraged crop growth, rapidly turning the once barren desert into a green oasis. Its results were undeniable.
But that can't be your only reason.
De Gruel probed further.
I'm serious. I honestly didn't expect the effect to reach even the Desert of Death. It was an oversight.
Veldora defended himself. De Gruel couldn't help but laugh at Veldora's explanation.
Playing innocent now, are we? That's fine by me. I don't owe you anything, Veldora.
Of course not. Friends don't keep score. But when we fight again, I'll come out on top next time.
I'm not about to let myself lose twice to some little brat.
The two locked eyes and laughed heartily. There was no animosity between them, only a renewed sense of camaraderie.
A big thanks to the AnimeKouhai patrons who made this video possible. Jared Bressler, Speed Saber, Curtis Loban, Judah Herrera, Just a Guy, Miss L.W. Hernandez, Jason Martin, Zach Rosen, Jerry Sladek, Ray Perez, Jay, Donald Williams, Day of Light, John M, Godman Gaming, Markithian Tidwell, Adrian, Kumo, T. Bush, Kirisoto Sama, JV, Thomas, Joshua Cousins, Jose Hernandez, Khalid, Christian Deshazer, Divine C. Harris, Monty Boy 98, Ruben, Yuki Iki, Gray, Isaac, Koala King 93, Quilly Buckner, Alver, Normal Defate, Joshua Andrade, Gary Miles, Dragon Spawn 666, J Rule, Nate, Leiron Sangkap, Lucas Guet, Jason Martin, Sky T, Andre Hamilton, Martin Ramos, Emperor WSA, Miko Espinosa, George Hage, Gobi Lin, Pratik Bandari, Faiz Mansour, Jackson Early, Carl Stephen Bernadal, Gareth Hashimoto, Steven Madison, Marl Barsha, Ralph Ignacio, Efrain Hernandez, Luca Gaming WTF, William Locke, Kamal Luke, Akshay Devate, Elvin Quarty, Ian Sikibiol, Thanakorn Lee Sawat, KACP9R, The Harv, Drayden Yamauchi, Joshua Wolf. Thank you so much for helping out. I'll see you guys in the next video.